Welcome back to Ravens Today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda, giving you all the latest updates on anything and all things Ravens. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the videos. Let's keep it going, people. Okay, so first up, we just received word that Jier Alexander had a lot of interest in playing for different teams. He had a lot of interest from, I believe the number was a dozen teams willing to give him more money. Instead, went to the Ravens for dirt cheap too. 1 year, $6 million, $10 million with incentives. It shows how loyal he is to Lamar Jackson and his friendship with Lamar as well. And it also shows how he looked at the Ravens organization while getting less money out of his deal and saw this is an organization that knows what it's doing. This is an organization that, I want to compete for. This could be a Super Bowl winning team. Will be a Super Bowl winning team. And he wants to be a part of that culture. This just shows how well the Wolves and the Ravens organization is. Like, from, top to bottom. It's just everything is, especially, with Steve Saunders gone, the old strength and conditioning coach. Well, he was fired a couple of years ago, but that was the only bad thing about the Ravens organization. You have the facilities, you have the coaching staff, you have the front office, the team itself. Like, it's showing everyone else, while I'm still taking less money from this deal, that this team is the one I want to compete for and make a run with the Super Bowl for that Super Bowl with. So it's just a level of loyalty to that, we love to see, not only to just Lamar, but just to the Ravens organization, putting that amount of trust in that organization, in our organization, and just being able to want to compete for a Super Bowl with a contender team. Moving on, Lamar. This is funny. Lamar every year has a moment in between training camps, or in between, like, when mandatory mini camp is over to when the actual camp in July starts, to when he just dunks on all critics. Man, it's funny. I'll even say I was a critic in saying that there's no more excuses for Lamar, but I said on paper there are no excuses. Something always happens during the season, but Lamar always overcomes it. But anyway, he was talking crap to all these guys that were telling him there's no excuses for him now. He has the perfect team, and he was saying, like, bro, just shut up, blah 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 blah. It was amazing to watch, because it was just, he just absolutely shut them all up. No, we usually just see this behavior out of Lamar in between the training camp sessions, and then he explains himself later when he's during a media presser and everything, and it's just hilarious to always watch. I'm one of those people that said Lamar doesn't have an excuse now. On paper, though, this team, on paper, he doesn't have an excuse now, just based on what the team has. But there's always something that happens. I'm just saying. But also, Yahoo Sports came out and said that, Lamar should have held out, especially with this contract negotiation looming. I'm like, Lamar has never held out, ever, for when it's mandatory training camp. He has never just sat on the sidelines and said, nope, I'm just waiting for my contract. He's always played. He loves to play football, loves to compete. That's our QB. He does, everything that happens with the contract, everything is speculative. Him and EDC do not talk about it to the media. That is personal between them, because Lamar, again, doesn't have an agent. It is him and EDC working on that deal. Mind you, again, said in previous videos, Lamar has 2 more years on the first contract he signed with extension when he signed with the Ravens. But his cap hit is going to be super high next season, and that's going to be really difficult to try and bring down and keep other players. This is why the contract negotiations are being talked about now rather than 2 years from now. So, again, it's just funny to watch Lamar just dunk on all the medias, just shut him up, and say all of this. It's fun. It's also funny because he and he is at practice, and the Bengals' first round draft pick is not. But again, there's viable reasoning for that, because the Bengals' first round draft pick is holding out because the Bengals had put a contract clause saying that if he doesn't reach, or he gets injured, he doesn't reach all the incentives, or something happens in his personal life, they can take away his guaranteed all the money he was going to get on that contract. Good for him. I think that's really shady thing to do. I think he should hold out until they take that clause out. Just saying. But also it helps the Ravens when the number one draft pick that they think that will help bolster their defense is not going to play. But just saying. And again, love this attitude from Lamar, just shutting his critics up, and just it's always funny this time of the year. Moving on. So I had a couple of comments about why a trade for Ramsey or Diggs, because Mark Andrews' cap hit is going to be huge next season. Well, it's going to, while Lamar's is going to be the highest, Mark Andrews is also going to be there as well. It's going to be second. So Mark Andrews, while he had that drop in the division round playoff game, it always comes down to the playoffs where he fumbles or drops the ball. It happens. While he is a better of, one of the better tight ends in the league, you have to look at the horizon at Isaiah Likely, who has become a star. Also, there's nothing going wrong with getting another corner. You look, Ravens have struggled with their corner position in recent years. You had Brandon Stevens, who couldn't turn his head whenever he could. Whenever the ball was thrown to him, and quarterbacks always picked on him. We were all ranked dead last in in the defensive passing yards. It's not good for a defense, And just getting another veteran presence there, especially with guys like we have Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins is going into his second year. We have Chidobe Awuzie, TJ Tampa. I just think that we need another vet presence there in order to kind of balance out the young core with the old. And besides, Ramsey and Diggs may have 1 or 2 good years left as well. So it's just an idea there that I'm just floating around that why that trade makes sense. And also, we could probably get a lot more with a trade for Mark Andrews, like a couple draft picks with that. And we would get the better of the deal. It's not like we would be scrambling for another tight end. We have Likely. We have Kolar, who has had some highlight catches in his career as a Raven. So it's just something to think about. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. Also, by the way, I wanted to answer something in the comments section. Yes, I do. It was my fault that I forgot to mention that CJ Mosley had a neck injury. His doctors had told him not to play football anymore. That's my fault. That's why he in the Ravens talks stopped. It's my bad. I just didn't read the whole room there, and I will take the responsibility of that. And thank you again for everyone correcting me on that. But it also brings up I'm just saying, minus the neck injury. I do hope that he has a long and luxurious life when he is fully healed, and I hope that all good things bless him with his career post football. But it also brings up the idea, would the Ravens have signed him still? I mean, he has been on the team, again, like I said in the previous video, he was the guy that picked off Baker Mayfield and prevented the Steelers from going to the playoffs. Always appreciate him for that. But again, that was years ago. Age does catch up to him. And mind you, we could use another veteran on that defense, a veteran linebacker on that defense. But with the players we have now, I think that going with Mosley probably, I just say this with all due respect, I just think that trying to look for another veteran presence on there I mean, don't go wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with adding more depth. I just think that with like, unless the Ravens signed him to the bare minimum, I think that they should have said, okay, man, but thank you for all you've done, but we're gonna move on. Just throwing it out there. But again, I thank the comments section for correcting me on, he didn't. It wasn't that the Ravens and Mosley couldn't come to an agreement. It was because Mosley's doctors, with the neck injury he had, told him you can't play football anymore. Thank you again. I do apologize. But again, God bless him, and hopefully he has a long career post football and a long life post football. Thank you again for tuning into Ravens today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda. Again, please make sure to keep subscribing to the channel, like the videos. I will catch you all later.